Hello.
Hello.
Oh, before we start, I'm going to transfer this over so you're the host, Alessio, because I'm going to have to drop in a bit for an interview.
Yeah, but this is your account, because if you have to drop, but you have to start something on your account, it will not work because it's just one meeting.
For the recording, do you mean?
No, just for so it is. You can have only one meeting per account running at the same time. So if the next thing you have to do,
Is on my account. That's a good point.
Because if this is a problem, we can use the.
Let me try. Let me just drop and no, it's fine. Let me just drop out and see if I can start my new meeting.
We also have the AMA, so this can still be. But yeah, let's try it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'll try it. Okay, so let me see if I can join my other one. Good.
Okay.
Oh, good. Yes.
Well, perfect. So, Skarbek, where are you?
I'm having a little fun.
Strobo party.
I'm here. I'm still like catching up on my day, so I'm just kind of swamped in lots of little tiny red dots next to a lot of larger icons that are just everywhere.
That's why I don't use notification.
You know, if I could get rid of notifications, I could, but you know, GitLab kind of enforces it. Linux and various applications enforce it, etc. So you know, it's kind of everywhere. You can't escape it, man.
You can disable on Mac OS X.
Yeah, I bet you can. Are we at the change steps now?
Yeah, I just give you a quick recap because you joined. This is just the beginning of your morning. So we entirely skipped 7 UTC package. I mean, we didn't promote it because it was too close to the time of this. So we decided to just skip it. So 3 a.m., 3 UTC a.m. was rolled out to production. Post-deployment job is canceled. 7 rolled out up to Canary, and then it's just dead there. And 11 UTC is ready, is rolling out into staging right now. And I canceled Canary and on. So it will not progress any further.
So our goal after we're done is to promote the 11 into production. Well, after Canary.
Or 7. I mean, what
production.
Yeah, it can even be 7. It really depends on what stage we are when we are completed, right?
Gotcha. All right. So I'll begin. Make sure there's no ongoing deployments. So that's easy. I just check the announcements page and look for anything that's currently running. Only staging is running, Canary is finished, and the last production job looks like it was finished as well. So let's see. I'll check that box if I can.
Do you want to share your screen?
I can, yeah.
Do we have a step early on about notifying engineer on call, or is that a little
it's after on? we do check before,
okay,
so
I'm just going to post.
We can run it, and then there's communication and pings and things like that.
I'm just going to post our Zoom link then in Infra Lounge, so if people want to join us, they can. But keep going on the.
Yeah, it's one of the steps. Also, that one.
No, but we should. Yeah, people mentioned they'd like to join, right? So have we done it already?
No, I'm just saying that as part of this step that Skarbek is going through, one of this is posting the link.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Rehab was interested in joining maybe to also look into this because she was doing the hot patch fire drill also today. So she can look into the new world maybe with that one. So maybe she's joining even.
Okay. Hi, Marin. How are you?
Doing well. How are you, Scarbeck?
I'm doing okay. I rescheduled our meeting.
Oh, cool. I was looking forward to that meeting, though.
Well, tomorrow.
All right.
Okay, so I am on the step to find the packages to roll back to. I'm going to follow our documentation. Let's see. So open the link to our documentation. Do the rollback check command. Should provide me the deploy command that we need to run. So if I go back to where I ran that, which is inside of Slack, and it's the last message I posted in F upcoming release, it currently tells me the rollback command is to run the, we want the 2021 511 package. Alessio, because this is an experiment, can you confirm that is the correct package? I believe.
So
I couldn't remember.
which package you
prefix.
said? The one in the rollback command, or
It wants to roll back to 13/12 2021 05 11 0320.
so this is the timestamp. Oh, okay, I don't know if we fixed this, so we should check.
That's why I'm asking.
So timestamp here is
That does
so
not
the
look like the
we
right
want to roll
package
back
me.
to current, which is 24/2A. So okay, as we know, the command is not right, as we know, because it's we canceled the ongoing deployment. So this is a known bug. So the correct pack. So there's you should follow the manual step, the one that are collapsed,
Very well. I will follow the manual steps.
because with this one, with the SHA of the current, you can get the correct package version.
Oops. So the SHA of the current, which is 242A. Oh, dang it. So this will be the package that we roll back to.
Yep.
Now, where did my documentation go? I did. And we want to replace the plus with a minus. So perfect. So I basically want to do that same command, but we want to roll back.
Yeah, if you go back to the incident, no, sorry, to the issue, we have some place where we have to supposed to drop the package version.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So just
I'm just building the command that I need to perform the rollback with. That way I could just hit enter. All right, so that's the command I'm gonna run in here. Let's see, find the package. Find the package rollback 2. I did that drain. There we go. Oh, we put the command in here. Darn. I'm over here building it.
Yeah, Myra did a great job in expanding the steps again here.
All right, so we found the package. I wrote down the package per our runbook, right? Because our runbook says to drain canary. It does, although we should probably make that step more clear. But regardless, we know to drain canary. I will do so. Just out of curiosity, I'm sharing my screen, but I'm flipping back between two different screens. What do you guys still see?
We only see your browser.
Okay. I just ran the chat ops command to disable canary in the production channel. I'm waiting for it to return results to me.
Yes, I'm boosting your message. I saw Marin, you posted the message in the thread, but I'm going to send it again with send also in what's happening at GitLab. So that because I don't think people would just see that
Yep.
in yesterday.
Makes sense. I missed the button and couldn't
I
bother.
usually do this, yeah, just and then cancel and write it again.
All right, there we go. Canary is now drained. So we can now perform our rollback. I will run this command in F upcoming release. Actually, you know what? I'll run this in production. That way it's clear to everyone. Because not everyone is in F upcoming release.
What dashboards are we looking at?
We're going to be looking at the metric SLAs and the platform metrics. I already had those tabs open. Pipeline has started. So if I recall correctly, write down the link, okay. Written down. Let's see, we want the Gitlian prefect as manual steps. If I recall, we're not going to see that they're actual manual steps until we get closer to the end. So I'll check back.
Yeah, you
on
need
that.
the
No
prepare.
assets
You need to
job.
reach the prepare.
Yeah, there's no assets job. That was part of, I forget the name of that stage, but that stage doesn't even show up. No warm-up job. No warm-up job. Monitor the prepared job, which this is where we get hung up on. That's here. Oh, checks failed.
There is the deployment is still ongoing because we canceled.
I was not expecting this one to fail though, right? This was Gprd checks.
because we don't have it in staging. And we introduced the deployment locked check because of the so if you just be sure what it is. The downstream pipeline should have the failure, and the failure should be that there's an ongoing deployment.
I pasted the pipeline link on the chat.
Also, when you did the production check, ChatOps, you got that we are not ready for rolling back, right? Because exactly of this one.
Mm-hmm.
Unsafe production error. What's the unsafe error though?
I can show you if you run the oops. So I'm running in the upcoming release, ChatOps run auto deploy blockers just to show the result. The result will be that the production environment is locked for deployment because of the ongoing deployment, which is the post-deployment post-deployment job.
Yep.
Yeah, the post-migration job that we canceled. Exactly.
So
this is this.
with that in
We never
mind,
saw
should be
this
able to
in our
do-
testing because when it runs in dry run mode, we ignore.
Oh, this is skipped.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it
Yeah,
get triggered,
okay.
but it can never fail.
So I think I corrected you when we created our documentation that we need to look for this job. So I guess we need to modify our documentation to switch it back to that job, right?
So can you repeat again?
I think I recall when we were discussing
Yeah,
this that it was
exactly. So this
job
is
that
the
was
same
gonna be a
problem.
blocker. Yeah.
It's the same problem, but it also happens one step ahead.
All
And
right,
in this
so
case,
I'll
the failure is
perform-
different. So not the failure, the way we skip the failure.
Yeah, it's ignore production checks. Well, is it a variable that I could set, or do I need
It's a
to
very
do something different with the rollback command? Because we do this, but I don't know if our rollback command is going to accept that, right?
You are right. This is we said this. Like ignore production checks there, but where is it coming from?
Do we have post-deployment migrations like on the previous?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Otherwise, we could just move forward, but no, we have them. So this is. So this is the deployer. So let's just check in the deployer how we skip this because it's in our documentation. It's handled by, there's a variable.
Should be ignore production checks, and I should be able to set that to true, correct?
It should be. Yep.
Variables. Goodness.
Yeah, it's ignore production checks.
Please be careful with revealing values in a recorded call.
Isn't skip deployment check?
Skip deployment check is for the other job. I think we have two, right?
I'm just, okay, just double checking.
skip Ono's roll check is the one that we documented. It bypassed the Ono's updates, and then we've got this other one.
Yes, basically in deploy tooling being promote, there is this ignore deployment checks, which defaults to false, but if it's provided, it will just take the value.
Yeah. All right. So I'll set this to true, add variable, variable, add variable. And then theoretically, I could retry that job.
Take note of what we did.
Yep. So this should succeed. Did I typo it? I must have typoed the variable name.
And what? No, it's a trigger variable. So I think there we have a problem with
Oh.
variable priority because it was provided from the outside. Then he has priority over variables defined at job level.
Okay, so the other option is that we could use chat ops, but does chat ops send the appropriate flag over in the deploy command? Is that repeated?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it should. So
It
we are
should, or
rolling
does
back
it?
with. So we're rolling back with a chat ops deploy command. So that one has the trigger variable for doing this. So let's double check.
You checking the chat ops source code?
Yeah, I'm checking the source code. So ignore production checks is a valid option.
Okay.
And it should be, I'm checking if we are making something. Yeah, it should, yeah, it's fine.
All right.
So every variables is composed together and it will trigger the right one.
Before I run it, I want to remove that variable that I just set.
Yeah, let's do it.
This one, had to ignore production checks. I'm going to leave that in here and just prefix it like we've been doing with everything else. Okay, so I'll close that. Ignore production checks. Hopefully I spelled it correctly. Just ran the command in the production channel.
We can check the trigger variable to see if we have the right variables.
Still set to false.
This is not good.
No.
Oh, right. Sorry. This is a string. It's supposed to be a string because it's the reason why you're skipping it. So we're using ignore production checks during regular roll forward deployment. And so we provide something like as re-on call allowed this deployment, or the blocker is not relevant to the ongoing deployment.
That's right.
So we had no parameters in what we sent now.
Yep.
And so we just said, he just left the
I
default
think
value of false.
Chat up should really complain if we do that. All right, I will provide it a string and rerun it. Take 3 is on its way. We got set to a string, which is good. So this job should now pass.
Let's stick for a sec here. If we are rolling back, our production checks are going to fail because we have an incident ongoing. It's active. So this check, what does it do then in case of rollback?
Nothing useful, likely.
There you go. Cool.
Yeah, like
I-
the
I think
rollback
to the
command
notes.
really should just ignore or maybe set that value for us in chat.
Yeah, I mean, it leaves a note in the monthly issue. That's the only thing that it's doing. But maybe because it's a rollback, we can just set in our production check, this is a rollback, so that it logs the rollback in the
Precisely.
monthly issue with just a message saying we are rolling back.
Yep.
Does the rollback command also drop a comment in the release issue?
It's a promotion check for regular deployment in that
Okay.
regard. So it
Okay.
should. So I'm going to check if we have a message. It should be there.
All right, so we are now at the Gprd Prepared Job, and we're expecting this one to fail for a very similar reason because I've not set the skip omnibus roll check yet.
Okay, so we have messages for all the failure and the final one where you say this is a test for and the link to the thing. So it's actually logging
Perfect.
rollback attempt in the monthly issue.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't following the screen because I was checking this. I don't know if you changed the link to pipeline because we rerun. So pipeline links in the change requests are the old one and not the new
Oh,
one.
you're right. I need to do that.
Thank you.
But in the meantime, we did hit the retry loop, so I will cancel this job. And I will go here, copy that, settings, CI.
Why did we hit this loop?
Because
In this
omnibus is
case.
locked.
I know, but I'm asking why.
Skip omnibus roll check. Unless you want to explain that real quick.
Yeah, sure. Because we canceled post-deployment migration to not have to deal with a package that we know that has no post-deployment migration. So the simulation allows us not to have to deal with timing in creating a fake package with the extra complexity that we are running this with an ongoing deployment that is canceled. So from the chef point of view, we are in the middle of a deployment.
Can you please write it down in the notes?
Yeah,
We
I think
had
it's
this as
already
part
in the
of our
change
procedure
request.
Yeah.
Right, but
We knew this was
the
gonna happen.
reason
We
why I'm
planned for it.
saying this, the reason why I'm asking this is because this is something we would probably want to address, given that in a moment where we need to do a rollback, there is a chance that there has been an ongoing deployment somewhere and so on. So we'll need to either write down the directions on what to do here or improve the situation.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah,
thanks.
In general, our check for ongoing deployment will change soon, right? We're like, I know in other places we're using the release API to see like whether there's a deployment in progress. If we were to change it to use that, this problem would go away, correct?
No, because
The
the
release
release
environment.
API is still running. The release environment is still marked as running because we canceled post-deployment migration.
So it's still marked as
Because we
running. There is no
canceled. In a failure would be failed. It's a different status, but here we canceled.
I see. And there's really no way for us to mark it as failed during for cancellation.
No, we need a manual job or something like this, and we have to remember of doing it. So, no.
Yeah.
Right, but you can imagine a situation where a production deployment failed mid-deployment for whatever reason. We're in an inconsistent state. We want to roll back because something has happened, which means that our previous deployment actually failed again, which means that our rollback will run into this same situation. So it's not.
What I was saying is that if it was failed instead of running, then we could, in that situation, then we would just continue, right? Because the whole purpose of this check is to make sure we don't have two deployments that step on each other.
Yeah, okay, I get it now. That makes sense. Yeah. Also, Skarbek, are you sure this is the correct dashboard we need to look at? I see only web.
Yeah. I think I'll probably just look at our homepage dashboard instead of this one.
I'm looking at this one. I'll link it in delivery channel.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that one that is linked here is just, there's a drop down where you move from service to service. There's not a big overview of all the services.
Yeah, there is, but I don't want to be doing that. I don't have time for that. I'm touching all the services, not one.
Yeah, I would use the one that Marin linked to. That's the one I use. Interesting to see this RPS jump that happened right after the failure for web. Kind of strange.
Wasn't us. We haven't touched anything yet.
Yeah, I know it's definitely not related to this. It's just bizarre.
All right, so the rollback has begun. I'm just going to click on two of these and swap back between the two just to see how they're progressing. there anything we should chat about while we wait?
Why are we keeping an eye on the Kubernetes pipeline?
I just picked 2 random jobs that I just wanted to watch. That way I had something to watch outside of dashboards. Just something I kind of sometimes do when I watch deploys happen too, but
But it is not related to this rollback, or is it?
it is. This is from the rollback
Right.
pipeline.
Yeah, got it.
Skarbek, is the dashboard that I linked to you loading for you? Because it stopped loading for me.
Yes. Yeah, I've got it.
It loads for me as well.
Does it refresh?
It's stuck in a loop, but yeah, I've got it refreshing every 5 seconds.
There you go. It's not
It looks
them.
like it.
It's there, but it's not
kinda stuck.
refreshing.
Yeah.
Okay, I just opened 1 second before you asked, so in that case, it just loaded. But yeah.
All of us watching the same dashboard, bringing Grafana down.
It also, for me, it hanged in the worst possible moment as I was looking at API aptex going down and saturation going up. So that doesn't look cool.
Single node Puma worker component.
Yep.
Yeah, we have drained Canary, and this is taking machine out of rotation. So the question is, does the fleet handle this?
That's a good point. I did a
Web saturation is also high, by the way, and web is
Yeah,
slowly
so
going down.
let's see. I did the math yesterday, and Canary actually takes a decent amount of traffic.
It's about 5%. So your
It's a
concern,
little different.
so your concern is that we're overloading the main stage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
because
that would,
we had.
but we
these
do
are-
Canary deploys all the time, and we drain. Is Canary drained right now because of the rollback?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, I see. So it's kind of drained for an extended period.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we are. This is why the RPS went up, I bet.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Should have thought of that.
Is this a situation we can sustain, or is it? Have we ever tested this?
Are we in peak or not? That's a question. I
Our
would
SLOs
suggest.
are still okay. I mean, we are not below our
Yeah.
SLOs for latencies, but we need to watch it.
I thought an API was a little bit worse than web for capacity right now. We might want to take a look to see if we should expand those fleets.
Web, yes. API, I'm hoping to start rolling Kubernetes traffic soon.
So
Which
what
we'll
I'm
talk about a little bit.
So what I'm thinking now is that, so we do the fleet with in batches. So The number of machines that are out of rotation is constant over the deployment. This is correct, right? Because we removed canary. So instead of complete fleet, we remove 10%, 5%, whatever it is, but it's still the same amount. So if we can sustain it during the first wave, we can sustain up until the end of the deployment, because the amount of machine out of rotation would always be the same. Yeah, it's just with canary drained, right? You're dropping not only 2 nodes for the deployment, but all the canary nodes, which was taking 5% of the traffic. It's not ideal, but
I'm also concerned seeing this web drop at the moment, and
I just got paged.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, Igor.
Wah, wah. Oof, yeah.
Yeah, I got paged for web.
Yeah, makes sense.
Are we okay turning canary back on, or would that be a problem? That's one way we can kind of help. Because we have no, I mean, there's no real. So we remove canary because in theory you are simulating that you have something broken, right? So you want to remove that, but we have nothing broken on canary, so we can put it back online. I would say let's add canary back and hope that
I could do that.
Yeah, point taken. We have to consider this because in case of a real incident, we are not able to sustain our rollback with our traffic.
Alessio, can you write it down, please, in the notes?
Yeah, I'm going to write it down.
Because I think we might even need to think about having some reserve just standing there. And when we drain, we put those.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're at peak right now. This is the hour where we hit the top of our RPS. So that's playing a part for sure.
Sure. But you know, Murphy, how it works. Like,
of course,
we have to do this in the moment. So we need to kind of figure out how to do this, because we need to do these practices more often, and they need to be without any impact for the on-call.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, Canary is now back online.
You see, we're recovering a bit, so that's good. On the web service. Igor, how are things looking at the pager at the moment?
Yeah, seems to be slowly recovering, but let's give it another minute or two.
Cool, thanks.
definitely
strange
interesting to see how the saturation metrics respond, because it appears that the main saturation point is actually CPU on the nodes, and once that hits a certain level, we see a very sharp increase in the Puma workers. So I think we need to definitely pay more attention to the CPU as kind of a leading metric.
I'm really curious. Like, I can't wait to see how this is going to change when these two services run in Kubernetes. When it comes to rollback specifically.
In terms of timing, I think that in Kubernetes right now we are something like 4 times faster than what we have with VMs, because we are already on the zone C, then we have zone D, and we are done. It's how long? 20 minutes since we entered the fleet upgrade. So it's impressive compared to, I mean, API will take 1 hour, even 1 hour and 30.
So one way we can think about this lack of capacity when we drain canary is to not drain canary. So figure out a way to deploy both canary and production, or rather roll back both canary and production in one go when we start. Is a one way.
I think I would rather not do that. I would rather see us expand our fleets.
Me too.
I think doing Doing that would eliminate just the fact that we need to solve that problem for one, and two, I kind of want Canary to be a representation of what we can enable after we get our next deploy rolled out. So theoretically, when we come back from a fix, Canary could then be enabled after the fix has been deployed. And then we simply re-enable Canary, send traffic to it as validation. I guess that's kind of the same thing regardless of the fact, but
the problem here is made worse by the fact that these are VMs, right? So we don't have the ability to just scale up in terms of minutes. I'm asking because I'm not familiar with how long will it take for us to say add 5 more machines to the fleet.
oh, that's
Hours.
That's a multi-hour project. After the evaluation that we are within quota limits and making sure Terraform still works.
Fiddling with HA proxy roles and Chef and stuff. Yeah. So that's the nice thing about Kubernetes, right? You can easily just add containers instead of setting up a full machine, which makes it slow. And also that we in Kubernetes can scale up and then after that take away some pods, right? The old pods. So we don't go down some number of machines. And doing this in the VM fleet would just be too slow, or we would need to start way before we do the deployment. So rather have a reserve would be better, I guess, yeah.
Maybe we should start a Kubernetes migration of some sorts.
I'll try to start that soon. In the meantime, Jarv and Igor, it might be worth having an issue to up the size of our web fleet.
They are out.
Because it... Oh, they left us?
Mm-hmm. They said this was below their level, so they left.
Yeah, this is the boring part.
They have a
It
meeting.
is, honestly.
Is that saturation going up again? I saw a spike in the.
We're going to see it bounce around for quite a while since we're taking servers out of rotation during the deploy.
Okay.
So it's going to bounce until the deploy completes, essentially. A little worried about the API being so high in general, but I think if we're at capacity for the API, that's going to be kind of risky.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the message, but Jarv posted a link in the on Slack where basically showing us we are at traffic peak right now. So there's things showing the traffic, and basically we are. Yeah, that one.
I thought you selected this time specifically because of that. You wanted a harder challenge.
Well, you never know when this happens, right? So it has to work on every situation. So in a certain sense, I'm glad that we picked the wrong time so that we know now that everything is safe and there's no real incident, that this is a problem.
No, you said it. Alessio, come on. You've been in infrastructure for long enough to know that you shouldn't mention the E word because it will happen, man. Oh. Now I'm nervous. I wasn't nervous up until now.
I'm sorry, Marin. So the API fleet is 41%. Was lucky enough to open the job at the same time when it was outputting the percentage.
You can follow the downstream jobs to check the percentage. It's not the friendliest way, but you can also do that.
So what happens with Git SSH traffic? So Git traffic in general and container register traffic in general. Do you see anything for container registry specifically, given that it's in Kubernetes? We didn't roll back because it's the same version, right?
Yeah, the registry is not being rolled back right now.
All right, because it's completely separate, right?
Precisely. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
The
I see.
Yeah,
version
it's in
is
Kate's
controlled.
workload.
Yeah.
And Git SSH or Git in general?
Git SSH, the GitLab shell, that is being rolled back.
Okay. And that's because we use the SHAs there, right? So the SHAs are different.
Precisely.
Okay, I see.
I could probably prove that to you.
I do trust you, but show me anyway.
Yeah. Be easier if I look at the diff job. It's not easier if I look at the diff job. WebSergets, Git, and GitLab shell, so they were all modified. So course. It's the web service. It's also the web service. So the GitLab shell deployment and modified its image from 8186 to 24280. So it did get rolled backwards, went from 512 to 511.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for confirming.
So I was checking the help page when we see the version, and if you keep refreshing, just flips from old machine and new machine, so we can see both versions coming back depending on when you refresh. So because we are around, a bit more than 50% of the fleet. So
Alessio, we've got manual jobs for Gitly and Prairie Effect. Is the expectation that we perform those today? Because that's not in our procedure.
No, we don't.
Okay, good, because I don't want to wait 3 hours for Gitly to deploy.
Three hours, really. But how long it takes now?
It's close to 2. There's a bug in Ansible where it's not deploying serialization or calculating serialization properly. I opened an issue for it. I just
Could
haven't
you,
had a chance to really dive deeply into it.
yeah, could you send me that? I'm curious. And because we're
Yeah.
doing 100% of the fleet simultaneously, right?
For Gitly,
Or-
no, it's configured to do 50, but it's not calculating the roll properly. So it's defaulting. It's falling back to our default of only 10% of the nodes at the time.
Oh, yeah, I can take a look at that. That sounds like a bug somewhere. I think we should consider doing 100%. I see no reason to do 50% except for maybe a little bit of safety, but it would be kind of, I don't see us recognizing a problem between the first batch and the second batch, right? Because they would happen right after each other.
I would be mildly worried at 100% because we'd be opening up connections to 72 file servers at the same time. And I'm not sure what Ansible will do with that.
Ansible should
otherwise,
be
I would
able to
agree with you.
handle that. Come on, must be.
I would
It's
think
not
so,
that-
but you know, I'm just playing a little cautious here.
Yeah,
Like my worry is that we have not been deploying to 50% of the fleet. I don't think we've
Uh-huh.
ever done that properly based on how often this has been happening. And Robert showed a chart where deploy times have always been excruciatingly high.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I would
send me,
say let's fix the bug first. I just tagged you on it. Let's fix the
Cool.
bug first, and then let's think about ramping it up.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I'll send it to myself. Oh, you literally like just noticed this. It's 16 hours old. I thought it was a longstanding issue.
I noticed it last week. I just took forever to open an issue about it.
Cool. Okay.
If you take a look at web saturation, you can actually see how we are putting VMs in and out of rotation. The saturation graph is like so. Although I see something in Git service as well. So like.
Interesting. During the deployment. So you think it's like all the fleets, maybe we should just add capacity.
Well, it's a bit surprising to see this in Git because Git should be completely independent now from VMs.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
Oh, but this says Rails DB connection pool component 80%. That's odd. Why would that be a problem?
I suspect it's when the new pods are coming up. They're going to be opened up for new connections prior to the old pods being turned down.
So we're doubling basically, right?
Not necessarily doubling, but like maybe 25% more being added at a time during the deployment process.
I wonder whether that's going to become a problem at some point.
Yeah, we have to be careful with these numbers. So if we fiddle around with our scaling strategies, like how many at the same time will be added, we always need to think about how that works with the database, connection pooling and things like that. Yeah. Same as we saw with pre, when we added real load to it and overloaded the databases there because they are configured for only 25 connections for registry and prefect. And the main database in pre is only taking 100 max connections. So if you really run QA jobs there, we just run out of DB connections.
I'm gonna add a note to our doc, and let's create an issue for this and talk with scalability team about it a bit.
How are things looking? Seems like we're still dancing around saturation point a little bit on web.
The web fleet is at 83% now, so we should be close to complete the rollout. So if I'm just thinking, so if adding canary is enough to, let's say, keep things working during a rollout, means that we are out of capacity for 5% for peak, because now it's peak, so we have the highest amount of traffic coming in, and I think we mentioned that canary is taking 5% of traffic. Yeah, this can't be true, because we also taking everything GitLab.com.
This is always changing all the time, right? I mean, we sometimes adjust API or web fleets for more traffic. Then after a while, traffic grows up, and then we need to adjust again. So it totally depends on where we are with scaling and adjusting to the traffic that we have. There are weeks where we are good with that, and then it's slowly starting to get bad again during deployments, and you see how we reach saturation. So, I mean, once we are in Kubernetes, that should be better because we can automatically scale, but on our VM fleet, we manually scale, and then we end up with this one. Or we would need to really look close at saturation metrics and then adjust beforehand, which is more or less what we do, right? We look during deployments or when Canary is trained at our saturation metrics and see, oh, we are getting close, and then we need to adjust again. So that's how it works until now.
Hello, Hemi.
And I guess we generally also use Tamland for more forecasting on CPU utilization, right? We've used that in the past to inform the decision to scale and add more API or web nodes.
Yeah. My point is more that if when we are at peak, like now, we need Canary to handle the load, then we are kind of running
we're under provisioned. Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
okay, that's the point, right? That's a fact, right? Because Canary can be drained at any moment in time because of various reasons. So if you rely on Canary to handle the normal production load, then you are under provision. Okay.
How are the rollbacks going aside from that? I'm just having a quick scan of the document.
Yeah, we are at 80-something% of the main fleet for web. Last thing we checked is web. And yeah, we had some hiccup in the beginning, and then now is rolling out. It's rolling back, but yeah.
Was that just at the beginning? Was that just about getting the right override variable?
Yeah, we had two main issues. One was the override, something that we overlooked because in dry run mode, those check are always skipped. So basically, there was we had an ongoing deployment. We canceled, and this was preventing us from starting the rollback. And yeah, we haven't this documented, so we had to figure out how to handle this, and then we were able to start. And then the second problem was that is this thing about being able to handle traffic. So because we drained Canary, as soon as machine got out of the load balancer, the saturation started skyrocketing, and we had a paging event basically in the web fleet. So we decided to put Canary back online because in this case, the Canary is healthy. So it is just, we're just removing it because it's what we would do in case of production incident. And so that's what we are. And now we are looking at this and checking the status.
Amy, now that you're back, I think I'm going to drop off for my next meeting. This looks good so far, so fingers crossed everything ends up fine as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
So web is 91% rolled out, API is 83%, everything else is completed.
Nice. Is that a little faster than we expected? Less than an hour? suppose it depends how long the web takes.
Yeah, we are,
Finish.
15 minutes now and it's not completed. So yeah.
Who's the host?
I think it's me.
I just got a message saying you should unmute. I have nothing to say.
It's like a passive aggressive, like you need to contribute.
Yeah.
You can have the alternative, right? Like where it just mutes people when they've been talking. If you've been talking for like more than 5 minutes, you get muted.
So web just finished. We are just waiting for the API now.
And I need to drop off now for half an hour or a little bit more. See you
Bye,
later.
Henry.
See you later.
See you later.
And we've got 6 more nodes left in the API fleet.
So that's quite exciting, right? Because that means that once we've got API running in Kubernetes, the rollback should actually be quite a lot faster than we expected originally, right? Like we're probably looking at around an hour or so. No, we started like, what time did we start? We started like, no, we started about an
The
hour
recording
ago,
is 1 hour and a half. So we chatted a bit at the beginning, then we had some hiccup in starting. So yeah, probably is 1 hour, 1 hour.
That's great. How long does a hot patch take? Does anyone roughly know?
It takes less, 20, 30 minutes, but there is a lot of pipeline timing ahead. So you still have to prepare the merge request, have a full pipeline on it and review it. So this is more than 2 hours. I mean, you also have to find where is the problem.
Of course, yeah,
So
yeah. But I mean, like that's...
we are in 2 hour, 2 hour and a half. Then you
Great.
prepare the patch. So when you have the patch prepared, it's kind of 5 minutes for the pipeline in the merge request, review, and then to roll out. It takes
And
20,
validating
40,
that it
60
works.
minutes. Yeah, sorry?
Validating that it works in the lower environments as well prior to rolling it.
Oh, right.
Right, okay, nice. So rollbacks will be considerably faster. I actually wasn't expecting that. I was thinking that rollbacks would be slower. I was expecting to take the time of our production deployment, so like 2 hours, but be safer. That was kind of in my head what the benefit of rollbacks was. So great that they are safer and faster.
Yep.
Let's the word safer, let's tread carefully on that, since
Well, I mean safer in terms of that we are reverting back to a package that's fully tested and has been through all of the
Completely
lower
agree.
environments. It's not new code. I mean, sure, the way it
Completely
behaves
agree.
like across the servers is different, maybe, but I mean in terms of like we're not putting new code on having cut corners is what I meant.
Yeah.
It's an old state that we already had in production, and we are fairly confident.
Yeah, like the code has been created and merged and passed through to production in the ways that it normally has, aside from the rollback. So one thing I realized the other day is, what do you think about the rollback pipeline posting a message on the release issue? Do you think it'd be useful to actually...
It's posting the message.
Oh, is it?
That's the problem why he didn't start it this morning, because it was checking
fail.
for writing the message. Say, there's an ongoing production. This Scarbuck is trying to do something wrong here, and just writing red messages. So we had a note in the agenda. We are going to, I mean, the proposal is that if there is a minus rollback parameters, then we will by default put skip production checks. This is a rollback. Because if you're rolling back,
I was gonna say,
at least we have an incident. So it will never succeed. So
yes, okay, yeah, it makes sense.
And we have a nice track of deployments of every kind, either a rollback or a regular deployment.
Exactly. Yeah, great. Okay, I see.
So pizza party to celebrate? Anyone?
I had pizza for lunch.
But yes, absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
When we get the when we get this epic closed out, we should absolutely we should do something, because this is a huge milestone.
In order to close out this milestone, I would expect for us to be able to follow a procedure from start to finish without any issues. Do we want to try to test this again?
I think it might be worthwhile, right? Like it would be good to not have the questions at the beginning, like for us to know, like have that documented, and have the, like, we should consider whether we do want to do that improvement to the rollback command, so that we don't have the question about, like, is a deployment. I almost wonder if there's a step in our process which just says run the deployment blockers command, so we have that information there. It feels like there's definitely a gap in, like, what we need to do, so that we have all that information, and we know, like, when it says this, if that happens, ignore that package and take this package. Could just be a doc update.
I think in that case, in my opinion, I would encourage us to try to get infrastructure to bump up the fleet sizing of API and web as well prior to our next test. That way we could do the full motion, leave canary drain like we want to per our procedure, because right now we can't do that.
Yeah, I think we should do
unless
that.
we test this during APEC time.
Oh yeah, I was going to suggest we can do an APEC time.
Well, actually, do you know what? You joke, Alessio, but actually, it wouldn't be impossible. I mean, when I say APAC time, I mean kind of like late in APAC time. But like we have with the clocks being as they are, we do actually have a time in the day where me, you, Graham, and Henry are actually all quite frequently online, and traffic presumably is quite low at that time. So we actually could do one.
We can do one start in early EMEA morning, which is,
exactly.
I mean, traffic from EMEA is not the same as traffic from the US.
Yeah, exactly. We could do that and see if we could get Graham involved as well.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Because actually I was chatting to Graham this morning, and I realized that when we get him into release management, he's potentially going to have quite busy shifts, because I think he gets quite a lot of stuff merged in that will deploy in that first deployment. Anyway, I'll stop now because we're at the exciting point.
Indeed, it succeeded. Sorry, Amy, but...
No, this is much more exciting.
Yeah. Finishing touches.
So we're on the finish task. So while we are here, I'll go ahead and go through the steps. So it'll pass here in a second, but just going to the help page, I do confirm that we are running 242, which is what we rolled back to. So we're good on that part. Our next step is to check, execute QA. So I've got a pipeline here. I'm just going to hit run pipeline. Run pipeline. I don't know how long this takes.
I think it's probably
This will run a production
like
pipeline?
20, 30 minutes. I'm not
I
sure.
think it's longer than that.
We can check
it's
the
closer to
previous
40
one
minutes.
and try to see if there is some time.
2 stages. Yeah, so this said runtime of 5 minutes. I don't believe that. 52 minutes for this one. 4 minutes, 9 minutes, 5 minutes, 15. It's all over the place.
So because it depends on how you trigger them. So I know for sure that
Yeah.
they have scheduled pipelines that are running on the production check. So I don't even know if the thing that you started will run a real QA test on master. Sorry, on production. So because if you go
Better
on
be.
schedules,
I'm on the production
yeah,
production thing.
fine. I'm just saying that if you go on schedule, and this is Bihourly smoke test, the second one.
This one.
I think this one is the right type of pipeline.
And that's
10
what,
minutes is too short.
yeah, this is not the pipeline that I ran.
Maybe this
so
triggers
could
something.
Here, what if I do this? What if I go to the pipeline I started, cancel it, go to that job and tell that job to execute? How's that?
Yeah, this was what I was thinking, but 10 minutes, isn't it a
Okay.
bit too early?
Let's just do that. You're going to cancel? Okay, it stopped. Okay, so schedules. By early smoke test. Let's just play. Play, please. Yeah, see, even that pipeline looks different than the one I created. Okay, so we have QA has started. Execute QA. I want to see all green check marks. All green. So we're good. Closing that tab. We want to roll this package out for at least 30 minutes. QA will provide us at least 10 of those minutes or so. And then we could just continue forward with our auto deploy stuff.
Yeah.
Very nice. Awesome. Great work. Well done, everyone.
So
How
I'm
did
gonna
it
stop sharing because I
compare?
don't think this is necessary.
Yeah, that's fine. How did that compare like to what we were expecting for production rollback?
I was expecting something much longer.
Same. Actually, that was a lot quicker than I was expecting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it went well. I think there's room for improvement as far as node saturation goes.
Yeah.
And I think the steps that start us off on this process need a little bit of refinement just to make it a little bit easier. I think dry run was a hindrance, but that still enabled us to fully test other things. We just found new, not necessarily blockers, just new obstacles that we need to refine a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. The saturation one's really interesting though, isn't it? Because there must be times in our normal day where we get really close to that because we don't spend a lot of time looking at the difference, like, you know, we just let canary and production roll kind of on separate schedules, right? So it's unlikely that you would have those things running together or impacting each other, but certainly we could. But yeah, I agree on I think it's just that very first step. When you get presented with the rollbacks checks, it's interpreting those. and knowing like, really knowing like this was the situation. And so therefore these are the packages. I think that's going to be the trickiest bit that we all have to master.
Yeah, I think we started working a lot on that one. And then we reached a point that we were just refining that script and not having progress on, do we really know how to run the pipeline? Do we really know how to handle problems? And then we moved on that aspect and we never looked back because we were kind of, okay, we know how to fix problems or quickness of that one. Let's see if it really works so that we can go back and polish and make this, say stress safe, because in a stressful situation, maybe you overlooked some of that information, you roll back to the wrong package or things like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
exactly.
You don't want this to happen.
And we have got an issue that we opened. So does this issue capture everything we want it to have? So improvements to the rollback check command, Scabac opened last time we saw this. So I don't know if we've got do we have a way forwards on this? Like, how could we make this more clear? Because we are definitely going to hit this, right? And it's almost like it's almost like in this instance, the rollback command is misleading, right? Because that's probably not going to be the package you actually want. I almost think that's maybe the thing that, like, I don't know how much extra complexity, but what we have something like if the deployment checks fail, or if they were going to fail, like if there is an upcoming, a new package it's called now, then should we maybe not have the rollback command or something and actually be like, use the run book?
I would love to be able to fill out the rollback command here just to make it easier on us if possible. But if it's always going to be wrong, then it should not be included.
Yeah, if it has to be wrong, I'd rather prefer having package name next to every SHA so that it's up, because the things that I don't like is that if we go back to manual, then there's this extra problem that you have to figure out the package name, which, because it's something that is automated usually, then you maybe don't know how to do it properly. So if we
this is the problem, right? So potentially we're going to roll back infrequently. And so based on release management schedules, we're probably not going to be individually doing this very often. So
we will schedule file drills or things like that so that we keep doing this.
But still, like we should, it's those extra steps where it's unusual on some of the times. If we have, so just to get logic on this one, right? I'm going to call it upcoming just because that's what's visible. That upcoming line will only display if there's an incomplete deployment. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Would it be hard then, in that case, if we have upcoming, would it be possible to make that rollback command also aware of that so that it gives the right package?
Yeah, I think there's an extra thing here that we have to double check. What happens if it failed? So because I think we show up the upcoming, which is the new package, if something is running, or maybe also if it's canceled. It failed, sorry, canceled is not a right status. Now, if it's running, it may be because it's really running or because we canceled. Usually we don't cancel, but right? It could happen.
We definitely could, yeah, for sure. Okay, and if it's cancelled, it's completed, right? And there wouldn't be an upcoming?
Yeah, I mean, if it's cancelled, it's not completed, but it's not even running, so we can roll back to current. But if it's running, we are asking for troubles here because we were discussing about, we know there will be an incident, so we want to skip by default promotion checks. Fine. But it has, I mean, if it's running, this is a problem. If it's running for real.
But but just to like, rather than skipping on, rather than sort of talk about skipping on the checks, like, is there ever a case where we would, well, I guess let me phrase this differently. How would we determine on that rollback command? How do we determine what the previous, whether we should be using the previous or the upcoming package? Is that just literally a case of us knowing did the fleet complete running or not?
Yeah, because one step of the production role of the change request was make sure there are no ongoing production deployment. Now we still live in a world where we release manager manually play promotions, so release managers are aware if there is an ongoing deployment or not. But that tool right now is not able to handle something like this.
Yeah.
And so that's the point, right? So I don't know. I mean, maybe I can, let me try showing something. So if you don't mind, I can share my screen. So I'm gonna quickly show something that I was playing with. It's local script, so it's not, but yeah, just should give you an idea. So let me close this and all those things. So here we go. So I was playing on these two scripts here. So this one check for pipeline in deployers that are, so basically, no, this checks for release tools pipelines that are running on tags. And out of that, it just goes to metadata, omnibus, whatever, and get out information. So it tells you, this is red, so it's a production deployment for this thing. This is still running here because I can't, is the one that we canceled. So is the 3:20 a.m. But disregard the fact that this is still marked here. But the point is that we can, what it is, this one, just open this up. So basically, with an API call, we can get something like this, which are pipeline for tags, and release tools pipeline for tags are deployment. And navigating the output of this, we can try to figure out if something is running as a deployment. But the things that I like more is this one here. So this one shows you every tag package with timestamp and gives you links to auto-deploy branch, omnibus, whatever. And there's this, for instance, this one is wait for you to play it in the production promotion. Now this is because we canceled, and so it's marked as failed. If it's running, it shows you what is running. So this gives you an idea that starting from the tags on release tools, we can navigate a lot of information. So maybe we can build on top of this, making it part of our checks to actually get useful information, like, is it really running? Or what's the difference? What's the real difference between this package and the next one? Because this does not rely on environments, APIs, and things like that. Just go from release tool tags.
Yeah, that sounds like something a good thing.
Because there are insights there, right? So if we have a running deployment, then we can check this type of information because we have running deployment, so we have a tag or whatever, and we say, is it really running? And we can make it. We can make the check smarter, or even just bailing out and say something is running. So could you please check, and links to where we can check.
Exactly. I think that's the thing. Absolutely. Particularly kind of when it's a stressful environment. I think as much we can just say like, hey, go check this thing, make a decision based on this type of stuff. Okay.
So how far are we from being able to continue this?
QA is completed successfully, so we're good to go on that front. So at this point, we just need to finish waiting for the 30 minutes to be up, which is about another 10 minutes or so, and then we could roll forward.
Awesome. This is good news.
So do we want to roll forward with the 11 package? I mean, 11 package still needs to roll out to Canary. So maybe we want to roll forward with 7 package and in the meantime, let the 11 package go to Canary, and then we have baking time and so on and so on.
Why not just leave it as is and let Canary run the 11 package?
Yeah. I'm saying, do we want to? I mean, we are waiting 30 minutes, which looks like after 30 minutes we want to roll forward. But right now we can only roll forward with 7 and 20 package and not with the 11.1 because the 11.1 is still locked at staging.
Let's unlock it.
So you are going to, we unlock it, we let it go, we wait baking time, and you deploy later on your day.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, I can unlock
Let's
it.
do that. No reason for us to hold Canary up.
Nope. Sounds good.
So I think because we're going to do that method, I'm going to go ahead and just click the box saying that we waited 30 minutes because it's going to take us roughly 2 hours before we'll be able to do our next promotion. And we're done with this change request.
Fantastic.
Which removes one issue from my to-do list, which is wonderful.
Fantastic. Nice work. It's exciting. CR to get closed off.
Big thanks to Alessio and Myra. All I did was follow procedure.
Followed them very competently. So well done.
Well done.
You did the actual rollback. So fantastic. What do we want to do about planning next steps then for sort of future improvements?
Okay, this is a good question.
So if we don't already, we need to have issues for explaining our web and API fleets. I know the API Kubernetes migration is happening, but it's still in the process of happening.
Yes.
So an issue should be open just in case we don't complete that and they have time to pick it up.
Yep, I can open that if you'd like.
Sure. And then Alessio, we should have an improvement on just the starting portion. We could probably reuse the one that Amy was showing earlier. But I think we do need a minor documentation change to help us. One, I think disabling Canary is not prominent in our docs.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's in there. It's just not a prominent step, you know? And then the other thing was determining whether or not a production deploy is happening. I think that determining that is missing from our documentation. We know because we're release managers, but we need to be able to make sure other people outside of our team knows how to do that as well.
Yeah, and there's still in the aspect of of making the first step better, we need to skip the check when we trigger our rollback. There's no way those checks are going to be green. So
yeah, so we need to bake that into the deploy or the rollback command in chat ops. So I'd like to see that done as well.
So I can hold an issue for this one. Yeah.
Yeah, so that gives us at least 3 action items that we should accomplish prior to our next test.
Yes, makes sense. Cool. So Alessia, can I let you do something with the issue 1699 and work out like what is feasible or we want to do there, like if we split it up or what we can do, and then Skubek, are you okay to do a bit of a documentation update and see what you want to put in there based on your experience.
Yeah, I can certainly do that.
Fantastic. Great stuff. Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. A successful test. Huge milestone. Great.
Okay.
I'll speak to you later.
With that, can we, before we end the call, can we just stop the recording?
Sure. I think that I
can
have.
do it.
Yeah.